You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Branford Board of Fire Commissioners meeting of April 27th, 2023, 5 p.m. First is to approval of the minutes. We have minutes to approve for our March 23rd, 2023 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Reports of committees. I guess I'll go first for personnel. We were going to have we're hoping by our May meeting, we'll have a staffing report. We have a lot of problems with staffing right now presently, meaning we can't handle the amount of calls that we have. We're having to call in towns that come in and cover us, other ambulance services coming in. The volunteers do a great job when they show up, but it's the lack of them showing up. We've had a couple of working fires that the chief will probably talk about that, you're getting 2 or 3 people showing up and it's just bad. I mean, I'm not going to paint a different picture for people, but the people who call 911, they expect us to respond and be there. And with the amount of ambulance work that we're doing and the amount of EMS and fires that are happening all at once, this is a really busy department. The town is growing, and it's going to grow more with more growth in residential and the industry, as everyone's reading about. So we need to really add staffing to this department, and so that's what we're going to have. And once we get that, we'll go to the town fathers as a group and sit and discuss how we're going to get this and make this agenda, this goal work for us. So that's all I have for personnel. I'll move on next to finance.
Okay, I really don't have anything to report, but because our budget is currently going into the RTM for them to look over, so we're waiting on their approval. I see, Chief, we have the $250,000 for additional staffing that we need desperately. So we're waiting on that, approval on that.
And so that's part of our process. Once the report's ready and I present it, along with Chief Kozak to you and you approve it, then we will make a presentation we'll send it out to all the decision makers, but then we'll have a public presentation at the Board of Finance meeting where we would have to request that money from contingency then to be moved into our fiscal 24 budget to support that, until with the goal of getting approval for 8 additional firefighters to staff that station, and along with a safer grant, hopefully we can offset the cost to the town and be able to spread that over a period of years. But that's an if. That's not a definite. So.
Yeah. And also to the mirror that, we now have 5 firefighters on long-term leave because of us working so hard trying to keep up with everything. So that means our budget will be in a little bit of deficit because of this. So I think, like you said, with our plan and our goal to have additional staffing, this will reduce, hopefully, the wear and tear on the firemen because of them going out with us being shorthanded. So that's all I have.
Okay, very good. Training?
Training is ongoing all the time. All right, I had mentioned at last month's meeting that we had the use of a home here in town that was going to be torn down. And I went down one night to watch them and everything, and it was fascinating. They had a smoke machine that would blow smoke into the house and everything, and the guys went in full gear and whatever, and they threw me out because I was staying in there watching, but I had to get out because I couldn't breathe the smoke. But I just talked to Deputy Chief Kutchma this afternoon, and I guess we still have the use of the house for a couple more weeks, which is great, because we don't have any place to train where we can do this. And I did give him a list of 2 other homes here in town that are scheduled to be torn down, so he's going to investigate them. The problem with some of the houses being torn down, they have to be in an area where there's space between the houses, you can't have it close. And I believe one hour would be, I think, available to us if we could get approval and everything. But yeah, it's always interesting when we do get this because we don't have any place to train. And the career staff and the few volunteers we do have go there to train, so this is great. Okay, I guess firefighter Massey is conducting thermal imaging camera training with volunteers and career staff. And I guess there are different cameras, Chief. Okay, you can talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, we have several different models, but mostly he's going over the similarities in the function. You know, it's another tool in our toolbox, and it can you know, it can get you in trouble, but it can also be a huge help to us. So he's going through all the nuances of the various uses of the camera with all the shifts and the volunteers. He's doing a great job, so we appreciate that.
Okay, now question though. Okay, when we're doing when we're doing the training at Wakefield, could we use the cameras there?
They did. Yeah.
Okay, okay, no, I was curious. I didn't think to ask him. All right.
Yep, and he had a training prop where he was used, you know, live fire to demonstrate
Okay.
what you can see and how to read it.
Okay, the career staff has been doing refreshing training on marine operations and equipment in preparations for this upcoming boating season. So I did ask Mr. Kutchma if there was going to be an opportunity for me to come and watch, and he said, yeah, hopefully in a couple of weeks they'll be taking the, what is that, dinghy? You call it a dinghy or what is that?
The Zodiac, the rubber
Zodiac.
boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
They will be taking that out. So he said you could stand and watch, because I ain't going out on the water, folks. No, no.
You go in the water?
We'll keep you on shore. Yeah, put a life preserver on.
No. Well, you can give me a life preserver. Oh, my God. And this was interesting. This was a drill. Well, drill master EMS YZ conducted 4 emergency pediatric care refresher classes for all paramedics. And from Mr. Kuzma, this is an 8-hour course.
Yeah, it's an 8-hour course. It's required training, and this certification will bring them until 2027.
Right.
So it's
wow. Oh my God,
yeah.
oh my God. Okay, and then, I don't know if everybody received the training bulletin that Assistant Chief Kozak sent out, and the guys have been working every day on reading that before they start doing their normal day process. So I read it, I found it very informative and everything, so that's training.
Good job. Okay, great. Good. Apparatus, nothing. EMS, Commissioner Fox.
Yes, well, as we said last month, I guess it's even better this month in terms of ambulance revenue, that we're gonna exceed our target in the budget by $300,000.
Wow.
Consequently,
Our
that's
call volume's just up through the roof.
Yeah, revenues related directly to call volume.
Exactly.
It's good for the town, but it's straight out of the department.
Exactly, and 78% of our calls, our ambulance calls, are transports. So 78% of the time, the ambulance is leaving town.
Wow.
And because of overcrowding in the emergency rooms, and this is like almost daily now,
Oh gosh.
we have hospitals. Today it was Yale and St. Raphael's are on diversion to Waterbury.
So,
Oh my gosh.
They still are, yeah.
So
each call is taking how long? I mean,
If
roughly.
we go to
They
Waterbury.
go to Waterbury.
So you're talking,
Those are
we're
half
taking
a day.
2 people out of service.
Sometimes a third. depending
This is-
on what-
this
a
is-
lot of those are psychiatric transports,
Yep.
so it's not every call that
Right.
gets transported to the hospital, but it is, it does take our units out of service for longer periods of
Yeah.
time.
If we go to Bridgeton.
So it's a compounding societal issue. They're using our services more.
Right.
They're using the emergency room services more. It's you know, it's just backing up through the system and taking longer periods of time.
Yeah, it's every day,
Yeah.
just about every day. Something is on diversion.
That is scary. Now, I know during COVID, this was a problem, but COVID is pretty much under control
And
now.
so part of what compounded it is during COVID, they expanded the emergency room to include what they had, what they called the annex at Yale. It was a very large tent outside, and evidently, since COVID emergency is over, those kind of code things that we would overlook for an emergent situation are no longer allowed. So they had to close the annex, which is where they handled a lot of these lower acuity calls that people are using ERs for, as opposed to having a primary care. I remember we used to have Stony Creek Medical in town, which also handled some of those things, so that's closed now. But there is another clinic, I think, or another
There's two urgent
option, right?
cares.
Urgent care,
Docs
so
on one
Hartford
side.
Hospital and something else. So there's options, but yeah, it's a system-wide problem.
Ready for you, man? Thank you.
That sort of just
Yeah.
backs
This
up to what
board
you're
cannot
talking
wait
about.
for
in
your-
terms of
Yeah, yeah.
staffing.
Yeah,
It
we
all
can-
goes together.
We cannot wait for the report.
It's coming.
It's gonna be
Okay.
eye-opening.
Oh, it's gonna be.
All right, Chief, for the money that we brought in for EMS, do you think maybe the Board of Finance would let us go? I mean, obviously, we're gonna have overtime through the roof.
Well, I think what,
Yeah.
I think what happens is, this money goes into the general fund. We will use it, as a talking point, because it wouldn't exist without the department. And it wasn't, we're asking for 250, but we're bringing in more than 300 of unanticipated. So it's kind of a wash, and hopefully they agree and they'll give us that money, so.
But it's really not about the money, Buzz, it's about the service. This is where I'm concerned.
Yeah, the
This
service is not gonna be the
This
same.
is, no, we wanna provide a service. This is what, according to our tax structure that we have, we're supposed to provide a service. And,
But we don't have the bodies, that's the problem.
we'll get them, it's like I said, we will, but, anyway.
Yep. Let's get it and we'll make it
But the
work.
point is, it's urgent.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
you.
urgent,
Yes.
beyond urgent, yeah. Buildings, Commissioner.
Hello. So Station 9 is coming along very nicely. I went down and looked at some guy did the stonework down there, did a really nice job.
Oh,
Yeah.
And they come out good? Sure.
Do we know him?
I don't know. Ricky Construction?
Yeah.
I saw a sign, yeah, I think they've done work in town before.
No sign.
No sign.
No sign.
No, but it really came out.
It came out beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Thank you.
did. It looks very
Yeah.
nice.
Done fast too, he put it, he got a screw on it, and he got it done.
There's still some minor work to be done upstairs, and probably the nicest thing that Mark Steinberg did, I saw the Facebook post. He challenged people to make donations for all the appliances and whatnot, and I think within a couple of days he raised the money.
Wow.
So kudos to him for asking people, and kudos to the people that
That gave the money.
finally
We're gonna
donated.
get a list and we'll send them thank you notes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yep. And we'll probably do a little press release with
Yeah.
Awesome.
maybe a picture if he
Yeah,
is so inclined.
he is inland wetland commissioner too, so on top of his duties, he do this.
He is,
You know,
yes.
He's a great
I've seen
person.
his credentials.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So it looks like the chief has contracted GGB to do some paint.
Well, it's on their agenda.
Yeah.
Although I heard the Board of Finance cut $15,000 of paint, money for painting out of the budget.
Okay.
But any paint at home you're not using, you can maybe donate it to the.
But you see it on the way in.
Yeah.
The metal,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the building's more than 10 years old now, and it gets the Route 1,
Yeah.
beat.
You gotta maintain. That's right, you gotta maintain.
I also saw that, is it the rec department that does it? They did all the,
Mulching?
mulching the other day.
Yeah, so they have a contract with, I think it's ACA,
Yeah.
and they were here this week, and it looks good.
It looks good. I
And you
noticed
replaced
it
the
coming in.
mailbox out there.
Yes, the mailbox replacement was done by, primarily by Angel Avila as one of our firefighter paramedics.
Nice.
We paid for the materials, obviously, but he spearheaded the project and they got it all looking great. So it replaced the original one was made of natural woods, so that the carpenter ants destroyed it. And this one is synthetic, so hopefully it'll last for a while.
And Shelley Brothers is gonna be doing some more names on the monument. That's always been the paperwork for that. And the history, keeping the names is always a it's an issue.
It's an issue.
Yeah.
I think we got it nailed right now, knock on wood.
Is Larry still doing that?
No, well,
Because he had a good list.
yeah, he did, but,
No, he passed it on to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, from the volunteer companies, you know the story.
Yeah.
Nines or fives and fours pretty much keep up with it. The other two still have 0 submissions, except for a few from nines that we know of because we know.
we know, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's on the
But
list.
anything that's been given to us, we're trying to keep up with to the best of our ability.
Cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
Good job, Chief. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. We have no report from pension.
Nothing on pension, as I mentioned last month, the pension committee approved 21 volunteers for pension credit and for stipend. This is the lowest number that we've ever had. As everybody knows, we're losing our volunteers. I need to figure out what next year's gonna bring. But anyway, so that's basically it for the year until something comes up, yeah.
Okay. Good. The fire marshal report is attached.
Yeah.
Does a lot of work, so he does a good job, I want to tell you. He's got that ricer
Oh, God.
compliance, which I like, but it actually creates more work for the guy.
Well,
Or, you know, which is great.
the one thing I would like to let people know is that you know, it is the responsibility of the building owners to maintain their systems. It's the law, it's the code. But they have the right, and we would expect that they solicit the best price for whatever vendors are trying to tell them they need to do. So you know, I think a lot of the vendors use the law towards their advantage by telling them they need to do this and they need to do that. And you know, if it's something that they need to do, they should seek the best prices for that. You know, it's the fire marshal doesn't say you need to use this particular company or that particular company. There are many mechanical companies out there that are certified to do the work, in that the building owner should do their due diligence. The nice thing about Brycer is it gives them the heads up before the inspection process. So if they have that and we know that they're working towards it, then you know they're good. So
I get a lot of
process
times,
is done.
there's 4 vendors that price them, and they're all the same, but I mean, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
One says it, and then you go and say, you do a spot check on it, you know, I guess, you know, I verify, I don't trust anymore. And you find out that, wait a minute, why is this more, you know? Yeah, so, yeah, it's true, so, but the marshal.
There's a lot of inspections.
Yeah. Yeah. We used to have a deputy fire marshal, but so that's something that we need to look at too. So. Okay, we'll move on next to the assistant chief. Do you have anything you want to say, Brian? Chief?
No, I'll be quick. I've been working to support the chief in our endeavor for a staffing plan. We're trying to present it in a way that is interactive also, so we hope to have a website attached with that to provide the same information that a PDF document would. So we're working on that. Been working on Station 9 a bit, coordinating the hood install and procuring the appliances with those donations. Yeah. Appreciated. And working on our next training bulletin. So the beauty of this one is that it was well received. So now we have some of the members providing the information instead. They're doing their own research, and really it's just a tool to have you know, concise information in a nice little format, and then it prompts the discussion at roll call every day. So you know, it's been working out well so far.
Good.
Good.
Absolutely.
What I found in his report was that the shift commanders come in when they start doing their shift, that they read this every day and they have a chance to discuss this, which in the past, maybe they didn't have a chance to discuss all these items, and I think that's probably very positive.
Yeah, it's definitely you know, it's been a great tool to start that conversation. So it's in a nice format, and they take it in bites. It's not something that you sit down and you know do in one shift. They
Right.
kind of go through it over the month, and then hopefully by the time the next one comes out. So it's a great job.
Very good. Chief?
Okay, so you have my report. It's been emailed to the first selectman as well, and talks about some of our statistics. We've done 5,497 calls to date, so we're pretty busy. Over 18.3 a day. We had two significant structure fires this month. 164 Alps Road and on the 6th, and 175 Brushy Plain on the 23rd. It should be noted that the one on April 6th was during the day, and we had zero volunteer response to that, but we did get support from our automatic aid agreement with East Haven, and then RIT from the Guilford Fire Department. And then on the night of the 23rd in the early morning hours, we had another structure fire up on a multifamily on Squire Glen, or right? Squire Hill. And that's at 175 Brushy Plain Road. Was kept to a relatively small fire because we were able to get there quickly and put the fire out. But again, the one volunteer engine was a combined response from all three uptown companies to get 3 personnel to respond with engine 2. So, that's what we're up against these days. The ones, like we've said many times, our volunteers do a fantastic job, but there's just a limited number of them. They all have full-time jobs and families and things vying for their time. And even though we interviewed 3 volunteers the other day, and they're starting in the pipeline, it's usually we're losing as many as we're taking in. So there's no net gain every year. It's usually a net loss. And it's time.
And that fire happened at 2:15 a.m. on a Saturday into a Sunday. So normally you would have volunteer response. It's a weekend, getting 3 people.
Yeah, we did get 5 crews together that eventually covered headquarters. So that was good. But with the amount of medical emergencies and other incidents we do, we're always stretched to the zero. And that's not really acceptable. The compounding issue, of course, also is the equitable response time. So we strive for a 4-minute response time from the station to the incident because, time is always a factor in an emergency. And all of our career staff currently is out of headquarters. Now, back in the days where the volunteer companies were robust, they were in the districts and they would respond as the first responders in their district, backed up by the career staff from headquarters. That's no longer the case. So our 12 or 13-minute response time out from headquarters to Stony Creek, or 8 or 9 minutes, 10 minutes into Boston Park and deep into Pine Orchard is really leaving us at an unacceptably long response time. So that's compounded. And so to alleviate that, obviously we want to staff Station 9. When you look at the call volume on a heat map, that shows a visual of where all our calls occur in town. It's on the western side of town here, along the Route 1 corridor, and then down into Indian Neck and spread out along the shore. And so by staffing if we had at Eastern Station, which we've identified property, I've put in your packet a property location on Acorn Road, which is town-owned. The building and our other land use people, wetlands, they've looked at the property. We've the town engineer Kevin had put assistant town engineer Kevin put a superimposed building on the property, keeping in mind the wetlands. It looks like it's a viable location, so the town shouldn't have to procure property for an Eastern Station, which we've talked about for greater than 30 years.
Right.
And with the development that's already on the books today, never mind what's proposed, it's really long past time to get that done. And again, it would require the staffing. So, but if we had those 3 station staff, Engine 9 and Indian Neck, and the future station out east, you'll also find in your map that we cover 90% of the build-up area of town within 4 minutes. And that's really a huge thing.
The ISO rating.
And again, it would help the ISO rating, and hopefully that the cost would be lowered townwide for insurances, which would help offset the cost of the expense of firefighters. So, these are the things that we're hoping to present to you in a more detailed environment. And I will say that I've seen what Chief Kozak's working on as far as a website that's interactive with the PDF that I'm working on the content part. He's working on the technical part and some of the detailed graphics and stuff we want to share. And I think that it'll be a good tool for us to get the message out and people can see what we're up against. Good job.
Can I ask about ISO? Do they give you a list of items that we need to respond to get our number down?
We have a whole rating system of everything from the number of personnel, the stations, the station locations, our training, our dispatch, our water supply. And so yes, it's broken down into a lot of different areas. And we've been working with them to get that. We're currently a 4. We want to get it as low as possible. The lower the number, the better. We feel very strongly we could easily get to a 3. With maybe some of these improvements, getting to a 2 is definitely possible as well.
One would be a problem because of the islands. That's all considered.
Well,
That's not-
the islands are kind of considered a separate part,
Oh, okay.
so we'd be like a whatever / the islands, right?
10's the highest, that's gotta be a 12.
Yeah, they're nine. For us to get to a 1, we would need more staff.
Yeah.
And that I think that while that's a great goal, we just need to get to where we're comfortable again. And I think the staffing we're proposing, or we will be proposing in our plan, with the additional station, will bring us to a comfortable location for now and into the foreseeable future. But without it, we're crushed. So.
Do you have any idea what the other towns, what their ISO number is?
Yes, it's. I'm pretty sure that East Haven shares ours. Guilford is probably a split, but I could certainly get that information.
No, I was just curious if anybody has really a lower number. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are lower numbers.
Hartford and Milford are 1s, right?
You're kidding.
Doesn't mean it's wet.
No.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
for our purposes. It's more.
They got hundreds of men.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
We have stations
Yeah.
everywhere.
They also don't have ladder truck either.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
they
like-
don't have a ladder truck, yeah.
How many
back in
days you
service
got a
now.
ladder
Yeah.
truck?
No, they've been out of service.
They have service. Yeah.
So a lot of it's paperwork and documentation, but the goal is the lowered insurance ratings for the
Yes.
town. Now, we do have a question posed to our own insurer in town to see if you were to insure the town buildings at this number, we're today with a 4, as opposed to if we were a 2, what would the difference be? So we could at least try to articulate to the public what
What the savings are.
what the savings would be, because everything's different. It all depends on the building, the insurer, and how they do it. But we're trying to get a number so we can at least have some examples of what that cost could be.
Okay. Interesting.
Good. Good job, Chief. Move on to old business. We'll be bringing up about the discussion of volunteer and career staffing issues, so that's gonna stay ongoing until we get some results, so. Move on to new business.
No new business. It's just what we've been working on.
Okay. Except happy birthday, Trista.
Yes,
Yes,
happy birthday.
Tristan.
And thank you for being here. On your
Thank you on your birthday,
So they have a big bash for you
Yeah.
tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, Buzz, we were hoping you made the
Got
one.
reservations, let's go.
Sure, reservations.
All right, look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Oh,
Okay, all in
second.
favor?
Go enjoy your birthday.
Yes.
Adjourned at 5:30. Thank you, everyone.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.